late, and I was wondering if he might have called.
No, I don't think so, but let me check the messages.
Okay, thank you.
No, nothing here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, doctor.
Neurology. Yes, she's right here. Just a moment, please. For you.
Thank you. Hello?
Alicia? Oh, boy, I thought I missed you.
You're not that late.
I'm a half hour late. I'm really sorry.
25 minutes, and it's all right. I thought you probably had to stay late at work.
No, I'm not at work. I'm over in the park, you know, looking for my nephew. It seems like Delia took him out for a walk this afternoon, and she turned around and he disappeared. And anyway, he's been missing about 3 hours, and we're all pretty scared, you know.
I'm sorry, Bob. How old is he?
He's 2. Little John. I guess you never met him, huh?
No. Is there anything I can do? Maybe I can go stay with Delia. I can imagine how scared she must be.
Yeah, well, she is, but she can always stay with the Ryans. I really appreciate that, Alicia.
Well, you tell her to call me if I can help.
Okay, I'll do. Listen, I'm sorry to cancel our dinner.
Don't worry about it. You just look for little John, okay? I guess you must have the police there.
Yeah, they're here, but, you know, it's dark.
You'll find him. You know, God watches over his little ones.
Yeah, I hope so. Listen, I'll call you tomorrow, okay?
Okay, take care and good luck.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Little John?
He's lost in the park.
Lord. I'll get over there right now. Maybe I can help.
No, they have the police there. They have the big lights and radio equipment. I knew another child this happened to.
That's what all those patrol cars were about, huh?
I hate those flashing red lights.
I gather you're gonna have dinner with Bob.
Yes?
So your little brother won't be expecting you.
No, he's eating at a neighbor's.
Well, look, I'm off in about 5 minutes. Why don't we go over there and wait for the news? Get a bite to eat.
Okay. Thank you.
There isn't anything you've done that can't be undone. You can still have your wife and your daughter, but it won't always be that way. Mary should bring the baby home to you, not to us. Make that happen, and these last sad months will be forgotten. But let her settle in with her father and me, and a door will close. I'm afraid that'll be the end, darling. Every new father's afraid at first, but the more you're with the baby, the sooner that stops. You'll never be with her if she's living with us. You know that. John's bound to do everything he can to keep her away from Ryan and from Mary. He'll hunt up every eligible man for blocks around, like that Tom Desmond from the hospital. Go and visit your child and Mary before it's too late. Then take them both home to Weehawken Street, where they belong.
Hi, come in.
I hear you're leaving us tomorrow.
I hope. Dr. Wolf hasn't said anything, but I know I'm ready. I've got Ryan's things all set.
Who used to wear this?
Me, so my mother says. The nurse thought it was brand new.
No, it was wrapped up in tissue paper and stored away years ago. Am I right?
Yeah, blue tissue paper.
Were you about to go to sleep?
Oh, no. In fact, I'll probably lie here wide awake all night long.
Well, then I can stay a few minutes. Unless you'd rather be alone.
I have lots of time to be alone. Sit. So, how are things in the public information department?
Well, you'll be going back to work soon. To Channel R.
Very soon, if everything goes well.
Do you have any idea when you'll be able to do the show about the hospital?
Oh, so that's what it's about, huh?
What?
This little visit.
Oh, well, part of it, yes. Is that all right?
Sure, why not? But I'm afraid I can't even give you an approximate air date. I have to do research, talk to the production people, get interviews, plus put it all together. You're in a big hurry, huh?
The hospital could do with some decent publicity.
Oh, what's happened? More trouble? Something to do with Jack's article?
Well, I keep getting letters from trustees and so forth. They wonder what I'm doing to counter Mr. Finelli's negative statements about the hospital.
Tom, I'm sorry.
It's a little like your husband coming back to haunt me.
Yes, he does that.
Listen, maybe I can help. Well, what I mean is I'm in charge of information. I could practically hand all your research to you. Set up interviews, Marshal Westheimer, various department heads. Me, you just tell me who, when, and where, and I'll make the arrangements.
Oh, Tom, that's a swell idea. But how about the other side of the story?
What other side?
The hospital's critics. There are some patients who've been neglected, people who don't have a newspaper column at their disposal. And there's the staff, overworked doctors and nurses, guys staggering around lately like my brother is. They have some legitimate complaints. It's just possible they're even angrier than the trustees are.
Mary, I thought you were biased in our favor.
Objective reporting of the news. A balanced picture. You have heard of such things?
Mm-hmm. I've also heard of such a thing as loyalty. And freedom of the press. That's it. You're free to give the public your personal opinion.
Tom, they pay me to tell it like it is. I don't have a show called Mary Finelli's Biased Opinion.
Well, maybe you could do an editorial on us. A long one. But at least promise me you'll talk about your own experience here. You're still pleased, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Everyone's been very nice.
In your case, I admit, that doesn't require much effort. People want to be nice to you.
Some. But there are those who prefer to keep their distance.
Mary shouldn't come out of that hospital with her baby in her arms and go home with her father. She loves you with all her heart, and you love her. Jack, be the warm, gentle father I know you can be. Bring your family together. It's what you want. It's what's right.
Hey, you want to come down to my place? I got a river view with a little terrace. We could sit out there sometime. Okay. Let me go see if I can fix things with your mother. You just sit tight, huh?
I guess I shouldn't have brought Jack's name into the conversation. I didn't mean to remind you of anything sad.
Oh, everything reminds me. Just ignore it.
All right, if you'd rather.
Yeah, please.
I had an interesting thought a moment ago. Do you want to hear about it?
Okay, I'll bite.
A series.
A series. On Channel R, you mean? About the hospital.
If you really want to be balanced and thorough, it seems to me, one program would hardly do the job.
You know, my mother's told me about people like you. There's a certain type from County Cork, she says. They come after you with an idea in their heads, and they just talk and talk and hold on until they got it in your head.
Like a fierce little dog. I've heard the same thing. I can't say I believe it.
Oh, you never ran into anybody like that.
Oh, certainly not. Actually, your dad strikes me as a man with a certain firmness in him.
A certain iron will.
Yeah. Good man, your dad.
I think so. And he is stubborn. Ooh, he's got a temper.
I bet you can match him there.
Whatever makes you say that?
Oh, I don't know. A hunch? Of course, my hunches are often wrong.
As I was saying, my father does have a few drawbacks, but all in all, he's a beautiful person. Generous and loving. And always so fair with us kids.
I think your father has a fine sense of what's right and wrong. Not rigid, but a real feeling for what's decent behavior and what isn't.
That's right. A certain moral code he sticks to.
I could see that right off.
I'll tell you something, Tom. Lots of people don't pick up on that. They think of him as bull-headed Johnny Ryan, which he can be, but it's not his basic nature.
If it were, he wouldn't have his kids singing his praises now. I notice your brothers rather like him, too.
Maybe that's the test of a good father. If his children still think he's terrific when they're grown up.
I know this. John Ryan thinks his children are terrific.
Well, he was ready to love us when we were born. And he's loved us every moment since. That does something wonderful for a child.
I suppose that's what fathering's all about.
Loving, sharing. It ought to be so simple and natural.
They tell me it can be hard going sometimes.
Oh, you know, fathers don't have to be perfect. They just have to try and be there for you. Da's made mistakes. We've disagreed, fought. But he's been honest and always on our side. Now, Jack has a lot of the same strengths and weaknesses as my father.
Does he?
Yeah. It's part of what I liked about him when we first met. He'd make every bit as good a father as Da. I wish he knew that.
Look, John, everything is fine here. I'll close up tonight, and I'll come in early in the morning. Ah, you know how I feel about the little lad. How's Maeve? Delia? I will. Goodbye.
You know what?
They're all determined to stay there until they find him.
What, Delia?
Well, Bob took her back to the apartment. She was too upset to stay there.
What?
Maybe.
What, do I drink coffee funny or what?
No. No. Dr. Carter, I realized that I was very rude to you this afternoon. And I offended you. So why is it that you have been so pleasant and considerate to me, even to take me to dinner?
Well, I got you in a lot of trouble. I know hamburger and coffee doesn't make up for stashing $100 in your purse. A gift that I knew you really didn't want, but that's one way to apologize.
But you did apologize this afternoon, and I refused to accept your apology, or rather, I refused to just take it seriously. Dr. Carter, I was wrong to say that people with money are different. I insulted you, and I am sorry.
I forgive you.
Anyway, what does a person like me know about people with money, you know? All I know is what I see in the movies, the cars and the clothes and the swimming pools.
See? You're prejudiced. Most people are.
Dr. Carter, I am not prejudiced. I believe in the equality of everyone. Well, I mean, you know, religions and races and creeds. And I guess I just never thought about it that way. Perhaps I am prejudiced against the rich.
Or perhaps you're just quick to see the other guy's point of view.
Well, I always have told my brother, Dr. Carter, that you look for where the person is, not what he wears or how he talks or where he comes from. That is not important. I guess I have a lot more to explain to him, Dr. Carter.
Look for what a person is. You know, that could be a direct quote from my grandfather. The fellow, incidentally, who earned the Carter money.
One man earns so much from just a little?
Yeah, from almost nothing. He was a clerk in a shoe store. And he saved enough eventually to open a place of his own. It was sort of an outlet for work shoes made by some local people. But the prices were low and the shoes never wore out. So by 1930, he owned his own factory and a bunch of stores, and that's when the business really took off.
That was the time of the Great Depression. Most businesses did not grow during that time.
No, but you see, Grandfather decided on a kind of unorthodox policy because of the Depression. I mean, anybody who had a job and needed a pair of shoes could get Carter work boots, on the understanding that they'd pay back whenever they were able to.
Your grandfather gave shoes away for nothing?
Well, yeah, created an enormous amount of goodwill. And you wouldn't believe how many people paid up. I mean, 10, 15 years later.
Bucky.
Bucky what?
Well, I really have to admire your grandfather.
Well, I think he'd like you, too.
They're packed. Oh, one bowl. I'm just...
There's nothing yet. Where's Dealey?
What? Father went off in one of the patrol cars. I'm just sitting here catching my breath.
The police say anything to you?
Bob said they don't think there's any chance of finding him tonight. It's gotten too dark out, and they've searched so many places. I don't know, maybe he's in some woody place, huh?
Well, if he is, you know it's just as well. He'll have some shelter. Maybe he'll sleep.
It's clouding over, and there's wind off the river. I think it's going to rain.
He's a strong kid, healthy.
Yes, I know, son.
I'm gonna go look some more, but there's no sense in all of us getting exhausted. Why don't you go on home? Huh?
No. Later, we'll see.
You've decided all this is your fault, haven't you?
Well, I think Delia and I have to share in the blame. But beyond tonight and little John, I'm afraid I'm at fault about many things.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Delia's position in this family. My terrible optimism about that girl.
Well, thank God for your terrible optimism. If there's anybody who's ever brought out any good in her, it's been you.
No, son. You have to recognize the destructive force in a person and take measures to protect yourself and the people that you love. You did that when you divorced her.
Now, if you're talking about cutting her off entirely from the rest of the family, that's wrong. It simply wasn't possible.
No, not at once, but gradually. And I never should have let her marry Patrick, never.
Oh, it was his decision, Ma. Come on.
My insistence. Oh, I know I didn't badger him or anything. I just gave him my opinion of what was right. And that put a fatal pressure on the boy. I don't speak of it often, but I'm well aware of the influence I have over you children.
Now, wait a second. We respect your judgment, your experience, but you certainly don't control us.
Oh, you don't know how easy it is. A word here, a look there. It's a fearsome power that a mother has, and I've never tried to abuse it. But I'm afraid I did when I told Patrick to marry Delia.
But you were trying to protect their baby.
What I was trying to hold on is to some sentimental notions I've got, particularly about Delia. I've been sitting here contemplating the pain that I've helped to bring on my children and my grandchild.
Oh, come on now, Ma, please don't. You were worried about that baby. And after what's happened tonight, you were right. You were proven right to worry about it.
Thank you for saying that, son, but... Oh, darling, I'm sorry. It's just not the time for this.
Let me take you home, huh?
No. You stay. Search for little John. I'll be fine.
Oh, God, I don't even know where to try next.
Try small places. It's getting cold out. He's going to be looking for a place to curl up. And listen for him, son. Listen for him. He may be crying. Calling out, you know.
Yeah.